I'm going to be completely honest with you. The last few weeks of Fortnite have been overwhelmingly fun. There are so many solid game modes to choose from currently in the game, and on top of all of that, Battle Royale is incredibly fun again. Like, honestly, it's hard to choose what to play when you load into the game right now, and I think this is what Epic really wants for the future of Fortnite. However, when you try to manage so many different things at once, no matter how big your team may be, you are bound to mess up sometimes. And this has been very apparent in one of Epic's biggest available game modes recently. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Fortnite OG. OG has been relentlessly under fire from fans since it released earlier this month, and as fan bases often tend to do, they're throwing all of the blame on the game's creators. Now, I do need to make something clear. I do think that Epic has made some really strange decisions regarding this more grand scale return of OG. And don't worry, I will get into those issues later in this video. But I think there's a bigger underlying issue here that people are refusing to acknowledge. And the reason they are refusing this lesson is because it has to do with the players like you and I, not just the developers. No matter who you are, it is always easier to throw the blame on somebody else. And this is just true in human nature in general, not just in the media scene. In this video, I want to try and make light of this issue with the player base of Fortnite, and how this is negatively affecting OG. Before we get into it though, please be sure to subscribe and use code HarryCaberry in the Fortnite item shop. It helps out more than you know. So, a well-known fact about Fortnite OG is that this is not the first time that we have gotten it in-game in the present day. Exactly a year ago, we got to experience OG Fortnite for the first time since the game had come out, but it looked very different from how it does now. We were told beforehand that the first OG would only last a month long before we went into Chapter 5, and because of this, Epic chose to condense Chapter 1 into just snippets of its last 5 seasons. The extent to which you could call this mini-season being OG was only about being on the Chapter 1 map and maybe the loot pool. We did not get any old graphics, sound effects, or old weapon and consumable icons or models. Now fast forward to a week ago where Epic decided to re-release Fortnite OG, and this time they claim that things are going to be different. And boy were they right. Kind of. The focus on this return to OG seems to be on making it even more old school, and this started with Epic throwing us back to the earliest edition of the Fortnite map, Chapter 1 Season 1. Upon first glance, it seemed like Epic really did go all out making this new game mode truly OG. They gave us a semi-old art style for the map and landscape, we got the original loot pool, the old sound effects, and the old weapon models. However, the more you play, the more the inconsistencies of this game mode start to rear their ugly heads. And it's really strange because Epic seems to have given us like most of OG, but not all of it. The most prime example of this is with the weapon models. We got models like the old bolt action and the blue rarity, which was awesome to see, but then when you find a purple or gold variant, they just left the Chapter 2 models in the game. This is the same with RPGs as well, but what I don't get is why not just go all in? Why only change one of the rarities? I know this is being extremely picky, but it's just more puzzling than upsetting to me. In addition, they also made the purple and gold variant of the original Wooden Burst AR, which just was not in the game back then and has never existed until now. Honestly though, I'm kind of fine with this one specifically because if it means we get more variety in this extremely small loot pool, I'm all for it. And yes, I know that this was how it was back then, but that doesn't excuse the fact that it's still very, very limited. And this sort of not being fully committed to OG can be seen elsewhere in the game mode too. For example, in Chapter 1, there was no sprinting or mantling or sliding, but now all three of those things are present. As much as I wish we could have seen the old running animation in the game, I do understand why they did this. Storm circles worked very different in the first ever chapter of this game, and in addition, healing options were extremely limited, and there was zero form of mobility outside of using your feet. So if Epic had ditched sprinting in favor of a more OG experience, the sudden influx of players who land on the edges of the map dying because they couldn't make it to the circle in time would have caused its own massive uproar in the community. But who knows what the real reason is behind why they won't add it. Another example of this is with the map itself. And look, these are so minor that I don't even feel like it's worth bringing up. People are complaining about changes like the tomato head spinning when it didn't spin originally when the game came out. Like, I understand, kind of, but this is not something that is realistically going to hinder anyone's experience playing the game unless you are being absurdly specific. Because as I've stated before in my videos, no matter how many times Epic brings back Chapter 1 or Chapter 2 or any sort of quote-unquote old Fortnite, it is never going to feel the same as it did back in 2017 to 2020. Trust me, I know this is a sad reality to swallow because like many of you, I want nothing more than to be able to experience Fortnite back in those first 3 years. But if you stop and think about it, what we're wishing for is just unrealistic. Even if Epic just straight up emulated Fortnite from 2017 in the present day, it would not feel the same because the reality is that we have grown up and we have changed. And look, I can prove it to you. Notice how Epic has brought back OG twice now, and in that time, despite being able to play pretty close to how the game was all those years back, our new experience of it hasn't replaced the old ones in our head from close to a decade ago. It's because the way we remember it being is so much sweeter than how it actually ends up feeling. And trust me, I am not calling OG Fortnite bad, even though it definitely was not perfect. It's just that when I think about the memories I have of old Fortnite, they're basically all positive. But if I remove the lens of nostalgia, I can remember being frustrated at never being able to win back in the day, or with how much better all my friends were at the game than me. And what is happening today when I load into OG? Well, two things are happening. Number one, I'm dying to very powerful exploits like double pump, as well as things like having no extra shields or any shields at all for that matter, because the game just wasn't as developed back then. And the other thing that is happening, and what so many people are refusing to acknowledge, is that the skill ceiling has just blown past anybody who hasn't played the game in years, making it even harder for true OG players to enjoy a game mode that is specifically catering to their desires. The sad reality of this is that there is really only so much Epic can do. They have since added ranked OG, which should help with the fairness of the lobbies a bit, but even so, the fact remains that the casual players of today are still far better than the casual players of the past. Honestly, I don't know how to solve this issue or if there is a way to solve it at all. The only thing I can think of is adding some option to play OG, but only with people whose accounts played the game back in 2017. Obviously, there would still be a lot of people like myself who would be able to play in those lobbies because I have kept playing the game since and have gotten pretty good at the game, but it would help limit the amount of new gens just wiping the lobbies of less skilled players. But the problem with this idea, obviously, is that it would be spreading the server list even thinner than it already is right now. There are a couple of things that I want to suggest to the players who are struggling to enjoy OG as it stands right now. Number one, just give it some time. It has been out for only 2 weeks, and this is not a long time when you realize that we are going to have this for the foreseeable future. The sweaty players will eventually get bored and move on to other things like Reload and Chapter 6 once the newness and hype of OG calms down. And after that, the servers won't be so unbearable, hopefully. And number two, try your hardest not to compare your experience playing OG in 2024 to the positively formed memories of playing it back in 2017. I know it's really hard to do this, but if you can alter your expectations and just try to enjoy it for what it is without a super heavy comparison, it will not only allow you to potentially enjoy OG more, but it will also not taint the good memories you have of OG. And I don't know about you, but I never want to lose those precious childhood memories of this game. Just to sum everything up, yes, there are some weird inconsistencies with the level of OG that this game mode is that I wish Epic would fix, but people are definitely overreacting about them. If they were to fix those few things, it would really not change the game at all. Because of this, I think the problem with Fortnite OG is that the player base has changed, and if we are going to try and enjoy this game mode for as long as it may last, we need to cut out not all comparison, but limit it so we can allow ourselves some room to have fun with this game and with the friends or family that we first experienced it with. I hope the necessary changes are made to OG and that over time, it begins to be a more positive experience for both new gen and old gen players, because everyone deserves to have fun in this blast of the past. But until then, we'll just have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe and use code HarryCaberry in the Fortnite item shop. Join my Discord server below and claim the last few special OG roles for being the founding members of the server. I also have channel memberships available in the join button below for less than $3 a month if you'd like to support me in a more personal way. Members receive an exclusive role in my Discord server and will be involved in the special member exclusive giveaways that I will be doing in the future. Thank you all for watching and I hope you have a good one. Peace.